lot of discussion about the old poop baits out there. So we're gonna give you the top 3 ways that I'm gonna be rigging the poop style baits here in the next tournament season, so to speak. But this is from the extension of my experience with this type bait. I'm going to give you my top 3 ways to rig it. So if you're looking for an application, you're kind of understanding the 3 ways that I'm going to be rigging it, help you catch more fish on these style baits. Now this is the Missile Baits Bomba that I'm showing you, and this is far and away the #1 way that I'm going to rig it, and that is going to be just weightless with with either an EWG style hook, Gamakatsu EWG, probably 4/0 is what I'll be using mostly, or I'll use that offset shank round minnow worm hook. That's a 5/0. I usually use the 4/0 with the EWG. I think it's just whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you have the most you kind of experience with. This one right here shows I'm gonna, like, if I'm fishing on a bait caster, I'm gonna put a Spro power swivel ahead of it, and then I'm gonna go down to the business end of the hook, about 12 to 14 inch leader, and I'm probably run 14 pound with a bait caster. I may go up to 18 or 20 potentially, but that's kind of how I'm gonna rig it on a bait caster. Heavier, a little bit heavier. If I'm going spinning rod, I may go down to 12, or I may do, like braid to a 14 pound leader. That way I can throw it a country mile. And especially if I'm making longer casts and I'm fishing around shallow grass, this thing is really killer. And when you're fishing it weightless, you want to really kind of think a combination of Ned rig and Senko. That's really what a poop bait is to me. That Bomba 3.5 is exactly in that realm. I'm going to show you one little quick tip. If you can look real close on that hook, there is what is called a silicone stopper. That's a Gamakatsu silicone stopper. I've got a whole bunch of them jammed in there, but that little silicone stopper is that when you rig that bait on there, so this is the EWG style. I'm just gonna I'm gonna rig it just like normal. Go in there a little ways. You want to wet it so that you can have some slipperiness to be able to get past that. I don't think I put enough on there. Put on there. But you're gonna have that silicone stopper. Once you get it on there, rig it just like normal. You want to make sure you get it down to where it's straight. And you're going to go through the bait. And as you can see, there's, it's poking through there. It's exposed. But if you take this little stopper and slide it up to where it pushes against that, it will help keep your bait from sliding down. And that is a really slick little deal there. And now you can see that hook point just kind of tucked up against that top. And as you're skipping it around, ripping it out of grass, things like that, you're not going to have that hook point come really exposed. So that's a slick little tip with that little silicone stopper in there. That's the #1, far and away the #1 way I'm going to be fishing the poop style baits like the Bomba. But the #2 way may not be how you think. #2 way is going to be flipping it. I'm going to be flipping it with a straight shank style hook, just like that. You could flip it with the EWG style if you wanted to. Maybe if you're doing a little lighter applications, you're doing like a real lightweight, like maybe a 16th. You want that slower fall, kind of bait spiraling around. But if I'm going to put it on, say, an 1/8 ounce or 3/16, you could put it on a 1/4 if you wanted to. You go heavier. You could go, as heavy as you want to go. But I'm going to be rigging it just like I would any other flipping bait, like a it's a Missile Baits Chunky D, any kind of little creature flipping bait like that, like our D-bomb, whatever. You can interchange. I feel like with a D-bomb, you could interchange with that bomba or any poop style bait and get that erratic spiraling fall, almost like a flipping tube. And you could take a lighter weight, like I said, the 1/8 ounce or even a 3/16, put it on 20-pound test, cash and flipping stick, whatever 7/6 medium heavy type flipping stick that you're gonna have, 20-pound flipping line, like a Sunline shooter, whatever you're comfortable with, and you can make good long pitches with it, because this thing weighs almost a 1/2 ounce. Put a weight on it, and then you're talking right in that 1/2 ounce range. So you can pitch that thing a good ways very accurately because of that weight, and you're going to get that erratic fall. You're not going to be not have a lot of action like the Chunky D or D-bomb. It's going to have a very subtle spiraling erratic fall, more like a flipping tube, but you can actually get it into more places. So I think that's going to be my number 2 way that I'm going to be rigging a poop style bait. Number 3, this one might be a little different for you folks, is on a shaky head. Now this, you have to have a shaky head with an EWG style hook, because the bait is pretty thick, but as you can see on the bottom, that Bomba has a pretty deep hook slot. So you don't need, just an absolute gaff of a hook. You don't need that. You just need something reasonable. Lube it on there, slide it up. So now you're just going to measure that so that it sits straight. And you could even put that little stopper on there if you want to. Or you could just expose it like that right there. And then you're going to have a shaky head. Like this one is a 1/4 ounce. That dude right there with the Bomba or any of the poop style baits being around a 1/2 ounce plus a 1/4 ounce. I mean, you're talking almost a 5/8 ounce rig right here. That's going to get down. That's going to get deep. You can take and put that on 12, 14 pound test. You can throw it on a bait caster or a spinning rod, and you can make very long casts, get that bait down 15 to 20 feet, maintain pretty decent bottom contact, but you're not going to have all of the weight just lumped up on the front of your bait. The weight of this rig is going to be dispersed throughout the whole length, so you're probably going to have the bait sitting on the bottom just like that right there. And then as you scoot it, it's going to scoot along just like crawfish on the bottom. It's going to scoot across the bottom and be sitting level. And as you can tell, that Bomba and most poop style baits, they look just like a fat crawfish that have the pinchers ripped off. That's exactly what it looks like to me. That's what we wanted it to look like, because that looks like easy prey for most any bass. That's not a huge profile. That is a very edible for bass down to 13 inches, 12 inches long even. But you can take and put this even way up higher, like I said, you could put it up to a heavier weight, and have it down to like I said, 15, 20 feet real easy. Fish it in that shallower water with a lighter one, maybe an 1/8 or a 1/16 ounce weight with that EWG style hook, and then you're going to have a bait that's not going to get hung up at all, hardly at all. And you fish it around riprap, things like that, because that's, like I said, the weight is going to be dispersed in the back of your bait, and it's just not going to get hung up in the rocks. I've experienced this, fished with it. I thought it was really, really slick, really cool. Another way for you guys to fish those style baits. But if you have any other ways that you've had good experience fishing the poop style baits out there, please drop it down there. I'd like to know what other ways that people have had good luck fishing these style baits. So let's all share and learn together, and I appreciate you guys watching as always.